Hello dear students. Today we are going to start the new chapter. So in this chapter basically we will study two important forces, that is electrical forces and magnetic forces. So here in this electric and magnetic forces, they are considered as the separate forces. Two separate forces, we know already about them. Okay, but here we will study the interrelationship between electric field and the magnetic field. Now, in this figure, I have shown you the electric field here and the magnetic field here. Now, in this case, you can see there are two charges and electric lines of forces are here. So, this I am considering separately, and this is the magnetic field B along or surrounded by the magnet. Here also magnetic lines of forces you can see. Now, these two are the different forces. In this chapter, we will see the interrelationship between the electricity and magnetism. Now, electricity is a flow of charges and magnetism is an invisible force that allows magnet to move other magnets. Electricity and magnetism are closely related. Following electrons produce a magnetic field and spinning magnets cause an electric current to flow. The electromagnetism is the interaction of two important forces. Electricity creates magnetism. In 1820, the Danish physicist Hans Christian Ørsted had discovered that an electric current generates the magnetic field. Now see, we have already discussed about the electrostatics, right? Here in our daily life routine we also have seen this electricity and magnetism connection, like in induction cooker we have seen this kind of behavior. So electricity can create magnetism. This is observed by the scientist, that is Danish physicist Hans Christian Ørsted. So electric current generates magnetic field is the basic thing he has discovered in 1820. Also magnetism creates electricity. Now Faraday also discovered that a magnet moving near a wire could cause an electric current to flow in that wire. Now what is the application? Why we are studying this here? It is the fundamental operating principle of transformer, inductors and many types of electrical motors, generators and solenoid. Just now I have given you one example of induction cooker. So this application is very much useful in day-to-day life also. So electromagnetic induction was discovered by Michael Faraday in 1831 and James Clerk Maxwell mathematically described as the Faraday's laws of induction. Now in this we will start this chapter with the two important laws, that is Faraday's laws of induction. Firstly, we should know about what is meant by electromagnetic induction. So electromagnetic induction is a current produced because of the voltage production, that is called as electromotive force due to changing magnetic field. Now here the important word is changing magnetic field. Okay, so the changing magnetic field is responsible for the production of voltage. So keep in mind what is meant by electromagnetic induction. the Due to the change in magnetic field, voltage is produced, that is called as electromotive force. So this is the basic or fundamental definition or generalized definition we can say. Firstly, before going further, we should know about the magnetic flux. Now, this magnetic flux word is useful to understand the electromagnetic induction. So, firstly, we will discuss about the magnetic flux. Now, see the magnetic flux, which is often denoted by phi or phi b. So, this is the symbol is phi or phi b. So, this magnetic flux is the physical quantity which is measurable, and in this diagram you can see there are the north pole and south pole. Okay, what is magnetic flux? The magnetic lines you can see which is passing through the area A. Also here one area A is defined over here, and the magnetic field B is going through the area. Now let's discuss about the definition. So magnetic flux is the measurement of total magnetic field which passes through a given area. Now here the area is this and here the area is this. Means how much magnetic field is passing through the particular area is called as magnetic flux. And magnetic flux phi, it is given by B into A. Now B means the strength of magnetic field and A is the area through which the magnetic field is passing. So this is magnetic flux. The SI unit of magnetic flux is Weber, is derived units and volts per second, okay, and the CGS unit is the Maxwell. So magnetic flux is usually measured with the flux meter that evaluates the change of the voltage in the measuring coil to calculate the measurement of magnetic flux. Okay, the flux meter is useful. So we will discuss here one experiment which is performed by Faraday. In 1831, Faraday in England performed a series of experiments. The experimental observation of Faraday are summarized here. So what he has done, he has bring one bar magnet near the coil. The coil is like wounded, and he had observed the direction of galvanometer pointer. Now the first observation is when the magnet approaches a closed circuit consisting of a coil, it produces the current in it, and this current is known as induced current. Now induced means because of the behavior of the magnet, the current is inducing, means it is forcefully producing there. So inducing means to produce forcefully or to make forcefully. So this induced current is there in the coil when it approaches. Now let's see the second observation. When the magnet is taken away from the closed circuit, again the current is produced, but the direction of current is different. Now see the third one. If instead of magnet coil is moved, now what we are seeing here, we are just seeing that the direction of magnet or direction of coil changes. In any case, current will produce. No matter, like direction just matter, direction will change there, but the current will produce. See, in the first it approaches towards it, and in second observation it goes away from the coil, and in the third what is doing, the coil is moved towards the magnet or away from it, the induced current is produced in the coil. The fourth one, if the polarity of approaching or receding magnet is changed, the direction of induced current in the coil also change. Very simple observations are there. Huh? You just need to change the polarity, or you just need the direction, approaching or receding. The magnitude of the induced current depends on the relative speed of the coil with respect to the magnet, and it also depends on the number of turns in the coil. Means speed of the coil matters, and also the number of turns in the coil matters. So these are number of turns. As you can see, these are number of turns in this diagram. The induced current exists so long as there is relative motion between the coil and magnet. Now suppose there are two coils we have considered. Suppose we just not used magnet. Here we have used two coils. Here coil 1 and coil 2. Okay, when two coils are there with the plane facing, what will happen? Let's see. When the circuit in the primary coil is closed or broken, the momentary deflection is produced in the galvanometer at the time of make or break. When the circuit is closed or broken, the direction of deflection in the galvanometer are opposite to each other. When there is a relative motion between two coils, now here instead of using magnet, we have used two coils, and we just make them take them away from each other, or we just allow them towards each other. So that direction also help us to find out, or or to produce the induced current in the secondary coil. Coil 1 is primary coil and coil 2 is secondary coil, but it exists so long as there is a relative motion. Means the motion between two coils is very much essential over here. Whenever the circuit in the primary coil is changed, either increased or decreased by sliding the rheostat jockey stick, the deflection is produced in the galvanometer, and this indicates the presence of induced current. That means the change in the position of magnet or change in the primary or secondary in the coil, induced current will be there, will produce there. Just you have to careful about the direction. The induced current exists so long as there is a chance of current in the primary coil. The above observation indicates that so long as there is a change of magnetic flux, means if the magnetic flux is changed, produced by means of magnet or by current coil inside the coil, an induced EMF is produced. Now here induced EMF is the name for that induced current. Okay, so you have to be very much careful about when you write the scientific definition. It has to be very particular, very perfect. So induced EMF is produced just because of the relative motion of the magnet and the coil. The direction of induced EMF reverse if instead of increasing the flux is decreased, or vice versa. Let's see two important laws from the same chapter, that is Faraday's laws of induction, for the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Okay, so first law and second law we will see. Let's start. Any change in the magnetic field of a coil of a wire will cause an EMF to be induced in the coil. Okay, so this is the Faraday's first law. Any change in the magnetic field of a coil of a wire will cause an EMF to be induced in the coil. So here you have to be very much particular about the word EMF is induced. This EMF induced is called as induced EMF, and if the conductor circuit is closed, the current will also circulate through the circuit, and this current is also called induced current. Now what are the methods to change the magnetic field? Now let's discuss about the two methods. By moving a magnet towards or away from the coil. So firstly what we can do by moving the magnet towards or away from the coil. We have seen this in observation number 1 and 2. By moving the coil into or out of the magnetic field, then by changing the area of a coil placed in the magnetic field, and by rotating the coil relative to the magnet. So these are very simple four methods to change the magnetic field. Area we can change, the rotating coil relative to the magnet. Okay, after that the motion of magnet we can change, and the moving coil in or out in the magnetic field. So these three methods are useful. Now see the second, Faraday's second law. It states that the magnitude of EMF induced in the coil is equal to the rate of change of flux that linkage with the coil. Now see, first theorem or first law is about the production of induced EMF. But here the second law is about the magnitude of EMF which is induced in the coil, and it is equal to the rate of change of flux that linkage with the coil. Now phi is flux and rate of change of phi, that is d phi by dt. The flux linkage with the coil is product of the number of turns of the coil and flux associated with the coil. Now see this, the diagram suppose for Faraday's law, and this is the coil, galvanometer is there, and the direction of magnet can be attract or it can be go away. So what is Faraday's law formula? What we will do, we will just consider the magnet approaching towards the coil, and here there are two time instants we have considered, T1 and T2. Now first T1, flux linkage with the coil is N phi 1 Weber, and flux linkage with the coil at time T2 is equals to N phi 2. So only flux is changed, number of turns is not changed here, so N is constant. The change in flux linkage n into phi 2 minus phi 1. Okay, this, let this change in the flux linkage is phi is equals to phi 2 minus phi 1. The change, that is change in phi 2 से phi 1 हो गया. So change in flux is n phi. Okay, and the rate of change if we consider n phi by t, taking the derivative at right hand side, so n d phi by dt, and we know that the rate of change of flux linkage, that is E is equals to n phi by dt. So the according to the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, the rate of change of flux linkage with the induced EMF, that is E is equals to minus n phi by dt, and this is called as flux rule. According to the EMF is equal to the rate at which the magnetic flux through the conducting circuit is changing. Now this is called as flux rule. E is induced EMF, n is number of turns, and phi is the flux linkage with the coil. Now ऐसा unit for the E is measured in volt. EMF अगर measure करना है तो volt में होगा, and d phi by dt is measured in Weber per second. The very important law here, which is Lenz's law. Now see, we have started this chapter with the Faraday's laws of induction, but the both law, one law is about the production of induced EMF and second law is about the magnitude of induced EMF, but no other law has given us what will be the direction of the induced current which is produced. Now Lenz came forward and he has given the knowledge about how to determine the direction of induced current in a loop. So Lenz devised a rule which goes by name called as Lenz's law. So according to the rule, the direction of induced current in a circuit is such that the magnetic field produced by the induced current opposes the change in the magnetic flux that induces the current. The direction of induced EMF is same as that of the induced current. In short, the induced EMF tends to set up a current, the action of which opposes the change that causes it. So very important statement over here, that the change can cause it. So what will be like in this we can see this, what will be the direction. Lenz's law has given about the knowledge of the direction of induced EMF produced when the direction of induced current is such that it opposes the change producing it, the magnet producing towards the coil. Here you can see in this diagram the magnet is going towards the loop. Okay, as you can see in this diagram, and the current in the coil has to make the magnetic field that pushes magnet away. Means the motion of magnet is producing the EMF, and what EMF is doing? EMF is just opposing it. So the right hand grip also shows the current flow. As you can see, there is the current flow here. Okay. So how to determine the direction of current? Fleming's right hand rule will give us the knowledge about, see, this is the current which is producing. Magnet is moving in this direction, okay, and the motion is in this direction. So this is Fleming's right hand rule. So in this we have discussed about the Faraday's law. So Faraday's first law means the change in magnetic flux associated with the coil and EMF is induced, and second law is about the magnitude of EMF, which is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux through the coil. Now see the Lenz's law. If we are moving towards the galvanometer with the magnet, the pointer is showing somewhere, the direction is here. Okay, the direction is here. But when we are just stable, we are not moving anywhere, so galvanometer will not show any deflection, that means current is not induced. But in the third diagram, if you can see, our hand is going away from the galvanometer and the galvanometer is showing this kind of direction. So Lenz's law is helpful for that, to understand the direction of induced current or induced EMF. This is the another diagram I have explained you, that is Lenz's law with the magnet example. ओके, मीन्स व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द सेकेंड लॉ, जो उसको प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है वो उसी को अपोज कर रहा है. लाइक इंड्यूस ईएमएफ इज अपोजिंग द मोशन ऑफ मैग्नेट, और मोशन ऑफ मैग्नेट की वजह से ही इंड्यूस ईएमएफ प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है. So from the definition of Lenz's law, we know that the induced current is always proposed by the cause produces it, that is motion of magnet. So this is very important law over here. You need to understand that motion of magnet is responsible for producing induced current, but what induced current do, it always oppose the cause. मतलब वो जिसकी वजह से वहाँ पे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है वो उसी को अपोज कर रहा है. What is the difference between Lenz's law and Faraday law? So Lenz's law is about the conservation of energy applied to the electromagnetic induction, whereas Faraday's law is about the electromagnetic force produced. And what is the prime importance? Lenz's law is used to determine the direction of induced current. What does the negative sign indicates in Lenz's law? The negative sign in Lenz's law indicates that the induced EMF of the coil is in the opposite direction of magnetic flux, which is linked with the coil. And where is the Lenz's law used? Lenz's law is used to explain how the electromagnetic circuits obey the conservation of law of energy. Now see, Lenz's law also can be called as the conservation law of energy. What is the application of Lenz's law? So here some of the instruments like AC generator, card reader, microphones, metal detectors, eddy current balances, all these will they have Lenz's law application using. Now let's see the relationship between Lenz's law and Faraday law. Consider Faraday's with the special attention to the negative sign, that is E is equals to minus d phi by dt. Now here E is the induced EMF and d phi by dt is the rate of change of magnetic flux. Consider that area vector A in the loop perpendicular to the plane. Now see here. Consider the area A of the loop perpendicular to the plane of loop is fixed and oriented parallel theta is equals to 0 to magnetic field B. The magnetic field B increases with time. Using the definition of flux, the Faraday law can be. Now see, we know that the flux is like induced EMF is equals to d by dt B into A. Now flux is equals to B into A, we know that, and we consider the rate of change of the BA. Okay, so B is like it is constant and area is also constant. Okay, area is constant and magnetic field we can find out the derivative. RHS is negative quantity as A is positive and dB by dt is positive. B is increasing with the time. As the sense of induced current in the loop is counted clockwise, the sense of induced EMF also negative. That is, LHS of the equation is indeed negative quantity or in order to equal to the RHS. Thus the negative sign in the question E is equals to minus d phi by dt incorporates Lenz's law into Faraday's law. Now see which very important topic here, that is motional EMF, electromotive force and induced EMF. Now what is meant by motional EMF? The EMF which is produced by the motion of a conductor is called as motional EMF. Now see here in this diagram, this is the rod which is moving here through the platform. Through this platform it is moving. So in this motional EMF, we will study how this EMF is produced due to the motion of one conductor. We all know that when the electrical conductor is introduced in the magnetic field, due to dynamic interaction with the magnetic field, EMF is produced, and this EMF is called as induced EMF. In this article, we will learn about the motional EMF, where EMF is induced in a moving electric conductor in the presence of magnetic field. Now what is meant by motional EMF? An EMF induced by the motion relative to the magnetic field B is called as motional EMF, and this motional EMF is given by BLV. Okay, all these three quantities are perpendicular, mutually perpendicular. They should be mutually perpendicular to each other. So in this particular topic we will study two motions, that is translational motion of a conductor and the motional EMF of a rotating bar. So let's see the translational motion of a conductor first. One platform we have imagine over here, okay, and through this platform, this is the conductor, BC is the conductor or any metal rod, this can move through this platform, okay, and the length of this rod is L and the distance of rod is X from this frame. And you can see there are crosses are given over here. That means the magnetic field lines are perpendicular to the screen, okay, to the page. That means if we move this rod in this direction with the velocity v, okay, in this direction v is velocity, and here the magnetic field, that is B, which is perpendicular to the v, okay, and length is here in this direction. That means you can see V is in the direction, L is in this direction, and it is inward. That means B, L, V are three mutually perpendicular to each other. Now see what happens over here. When the conductor is moving with the velocity, suppose we are moving this rod here, it cuts the magnetic field lines forces. Now when this field line forces get cuts, some Lorentz force is experienced by the field lines on this rod. When the Lorentz force is acting on this, just because of the negative electrons, they will transfer from this position to this position. Now what will happen? C will be positive terminal and B will be negative terminal. In this CB will act as an battery. Here you can see this diagram. Just because of electrons are negatively charged, by experiencing some Lorentz force, what will happen? All these electrons gets attracted or they gets diverted to the second end or the below end, okay. So what will happen? This CB gets converted into a battery. Means we can consider this CB rod, this is the conductor or this is the metal rod, get converted into a simple battery like structure, which is having C as the positive terminal and B as the negative terminal. Now, when the conductor is moving with the velocity, magnetic field experiences a force on conductor and the force is called as Lorentz force. And this Lorentz force can be given as F is equals to Q into V into B, and V cross B, these are two mutually perpendicular quantities. Consider Fleming left hand thumb rule. What will happen? Thumb shows the conductor. Here in this case you can see thumb shows the conductor. Just hold your thumb, left hand and thumb shows the conductor. Middle finger shows the velocity of electrons and forefinger shows the magnetic field B, which is perpendicular into the paper or screen here. So B, L, V are mutually perpendicular. So this motional EMF, that is translational EMF, is valid only when these three quantities are mutually perpendicular to each other. Now these electrons are negatively charged, so they start moving in the opposite direction to the force. Rod gets converted into a cell because of the motion of rod, EMF induced in the rod. And this Lorentz force can be called as Q into V cross B. Now when we remove this cross product, we will add sin theta, and here sin 90 is 1. So simply we will get F is equals to Q into V into B. Now when the charges gets displaced by the distance L, L is the distance of the conductor. As you can see in the diagram, L is the actually it's a length of the conductor, or hence we can see the electrons get displaced from this amount of distance. So work done, which is in the imaginary battery, W is equals to F into L. F is the Lorentz force, L is the length of the conductor, and work is the work done. Now V, that is potential difference, that is EMF, is given by work upon charge. Now E is equals to F into L upon Q, and F means Lorentz force. F is equals to Q V B into L upon Q. Now Q gets cancelled and E is equals to B L V, that is EMF induced in the rod. So this is one simple derivation in translational motion of the conductor. That means motional EMF can be found out with the help of this theory. We will see about the translational motion in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye and take care.